All right, back here on HQ Spotlight, the Ben Johnson Bowl, as we're calling it, is on deck for week 2 of the NFL. I like to call it a revenge game. Cunio, I don't know. For Ben Johnson, like a Ben Johnson revenge game. I don't know. Maybe it's not that spicy.
He left them.
I know. Maybe I'm just trying to stir up drama. I don't know. Okay, Johnson heading back to his old stomping grounds, of course, in Detroit, but this time as head coach of the Chicago Bears, as we all know. Both of these teams looking for their first win of the season. So here is more from Ben Johnson on returning to Ford Field, but this time on the other side.
In my mind, it's going to be about just winning the football game, and that's really what it's going to come down to is us going out there and looking to find our first victory of the season. And so it'll be a tough environment. You know, that place has really turned into one of the strongest home field advantage places, I think, in the National Football League. And so we'll have our work cut out for us. We'll have to be able to communicate within that hostile environment. And, you know, I think we'll find out a lot about ourselves.
So matter of fact, man. We have Vereen and JP Acosta joining us here for a Bears-Lions preview. Ben Johnson says, hey, the focus is just going to be on winning the game. That is it. I mean, JP, you got to think it's like a little bit of like awkwardness, chip on your shoulder, something leading up to this game to make it a little spicy, right? So we can hope as viewers.
I think there's a little bit of awkwardness, but at the end of the day, both these teams need this win. This is sort of an anxiety bowl for both these teams where they're leaving week 1 not having the result that they wanted. Of course, Detroit kind of getting blown out by Green Bay in the first week, and then Chicago losing that lead late to Minnesota. Both these teams not only need a win, but they need to get back on track offensively. So yeah, there's probably going to be a little bit of, I guess, some anger, some of the little return energy that Ben Johnson's going to feel going back to Detroit. But at the end of the day, they need to get a win.
JP, I'm right there with you. This is the night before Thanksgiving where you're going to see your ex at the bar, and you want to be doing well in life, right? You want to have a great job. You want to have a Ferrari in the parking lot, and Ben Johnson doesn't have that quite yet. He has a quarterback who's still trying to get the snap count down so his offensive line doesn't false start for the 3rd time. He's kind of still looking for a consistent run game, and he's trying to complete passes to DJ Moore for a wide open touchdown. So Ben Johnson will be excited. He will get a bunch of applause from the Detroit fans, but I'm sure he wishes he was feeling a little better about a Monday Night Football performance going into week 2.
All right, yeah, so we're going to call this the Ben Johnson Bowl, the Anxiety Bowl, the Seeing Your Ex After Thanksgiving or Before Thanksgiving Bowl. It has a lot of names. They're all synonymous, right? Let's get to the Bears side of things because they were looking pretty good, right, against the Vikings, full steam ahead, and then they just let that lead slip away. So, Brock, I'll come to you first. Who are the impact players that you're going to be looking for here for the Bears?
I'm going defensively, and I'm going linebacker Noah Sewell, who was thrown into the starting lineup due to some injuries in that linebacker room. He had a great 3 quarters. The unfortunate thing was it's a 4-quarter game, and in the 4th quarter, he gave up a couple of explosives, most notably the big pass touchdown to Aaron Jones. And you are what you put on tape, and they are going to attack him because even though that linebacker room is healthy, Detroit's going to run a lot of 2 running back sets, leaving him on the field, and they are going to throw that football because Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 receptions a week ago. Noah Sewell showed a weakness in pass coverage, so he has to step it up. But he showed me a lot of promise in the first 3 quarters, and hopefully he can reinvigorate that.
So my guy actually is wide receiver Rome Odunze, and the biggest reason is because Detroit plays a lot of man coverage. Last week, they led the NFL in percentage of snaps in cover 1, and Odunze is arguably their best receiver at separating against man coverage. He is their true wide receiver 1, especially with DJ Moore sort of kind of running different routes than what Caleb Williams wants him to. So if they can get Odunze going in man coverage, you can kind of get some easy buttons going for Caleb Williams in the passing offense. I think that'll help them get a win.
All right, let's go to the Lions side of things. They're trying to get back on track. They looked like a shell of themselves against the Packers, but although after last night, I just don't know if the Lions are bad or if the Packers are just that good, right? But how do they do that, JP? How do they get back on track and ultimately get to where they want to be?
I think they have to reestablish themselves up front. The biggest thing that you think about when you're thinking about the Detroit Lions is dominance up front with that offensive line. Last week, they're playing a few new guys, Tate Ratledge, Christian Mahogany, both first-year starters. Graham Glasgow moving to center, and you can tell the communication issues were just all over the field. They were not able to talk very well. They weren't communicating well up front, and that's how they weren't able to run the ball. They weren't able to protect Jared Goff. So this week you're going in a little more streamlined, a little more precise of a game plan. So I'm hoping to see this offensive line play a lot better, because that is the crux of this Detroit offense. Them having a strong offensive line is why everything works the way it does in Detroit.
You are so right, JP. It's all about running the football. Jared Goff is not a quarterback to get things on track when they're going off track, right? Jared Goff is incredibly successful. He has been in the league for a long time. He will continue to be in the league for a long time, but things have to be correct around him, and play action comes off of running the football, and running the football is what Detroit does. If they want to have success, it has to come through the run game. Again, this is not a knock to the career of Jared Goff. He is who he is, but the fact remains he has to be in a comfortable situation with the guys around him. So he's the quarterback. He's the most important guy on that offense. But if those other 10 pieces can't improve their level of play, he can't improve his.
And the Lions, they've made the playoffs the last 2 seasons. They're not that far removed from that NFC Championship appearance. We have the phrase, have the Lions lost their roar? Brock, is that championship window closed for Detroit? Is it maybe we're saying that too early? Do you believe that?
It is, if they want to win games how they have in the past. This offensive line is not what it was. I'm trying so hard not to overreact to one performance. And to your great point earlier, maybe Green Bay's defensive front is just the best in the league right now. But the Lions won games because they just laid on you. We have a big boxing match tomorrow. Let's make a boxing analogy here. They just lay on you. They wear you down so that in those later rounds, in that fourth quarter, they can just come out swinging and you are exhausted and sick of it. So if they want to continue winning how they have under Dan Campbell by just being big bullies, something has to change, and it has to change in the trenches, or else they're going to have to find a different way to win football games.
All right, and with that, let's talk about impact players to watch for Detroit. And JP, you are going with Aiden Hutchinson. What do you need to see from him?
I think I want to see a lot more just overall pass rush productivity. I think Matt LaFleur had a great design for neutralizing him through double teams, chipping him in pass rush situations. But he has talked about after that game that he wants to rush the passer more often. Don't drop him into coverage. You know, Ben Johnson's going to have a good game plan for him to try and neutralize him. But with the amount of man coverage that the Lions play back there, you need pressure up front. He is the straw that stirs the drink for them off for defensively. So I need to see him have a big game.
I'm going with tight end Sam Laporta. Going back to the Jared Goff point, they were getting after him last week. He got sacked 4 times, and Sam Laporta was his leading wide receiver because he knows that he's going to be there. A tight end is a quarterback safety blanket. I was thoroughly impressed with Chicago's cornerbacks Monday night and how they handled Minnesota, even in a loss. I expect Jared to look toward his young tight end and look toward him often. Sam Laporta will have a monster Sunday.
Wow, I hope you're right, because he's on my fantasy team, so I need him to have a monster Sunday, okay?
No, I'm playing you in fantasy this week.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys, I'm playing Miami Mike in fantasy. I cannot reveal my secrets. I can't reveal my secrets. I didn't know that. Okay, yep. New information to me. Okay,
so pay attention.
Let's get a game pick. All right, we'll get this train back on the tracks. Bears 6.5-point dogs. How does it go down, JP? How do you think it all happens?
I think being at home, wanting to get that taste of the loss out of their mouth, I'm going to go with Detroit. I know the offensive line is still going through some growing pains, but those are young guys getting the reps that they need. They're incredibly talented, and I think they'll be able to find their groove.
I'm going right there with you, JP. 20-13 in a low-scoring affair that has the Lions with their first win of the season, and Chicago scratching their heads, doing everything they can not to panic.
JP, Brock, we certainly appreciate it. Previewing Bears, Lions, and I don't know if you heard Cunio, but they're saying a monster night for Sam Laporta.
I wasn't hearing any of that.
On Sunday. That's what I heard. I don't know, whatever. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. And, of course, before kick, make sure you check out the NFL Today, Sundays at 12 Eastern with The Crew on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
I'm going to have some words for Brock and JP because they're coming back. Coming up, it took 12 years for the Colts to win a Week 1 game. Can they follow it up with another dub against the Broncos? HQ Spotlight coming right back.